Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to like, subscribe, follow wherever you listen to us so you don't miss any episodes or bonus stuff that we do. I'm Sandra, editing Sandra, actually. Karlee's not here with me right now, but just wanted to let you know that this is part 2 of the DC Con discussion.
We're gonna jump backwards in time to Saturday because Ted left. No, that sounds awful. Ted left Sandra here, abandoned it. No, he didn't. Ted wasn't feeling great. Ted went back to the hotel, but Sandra stayed at the con, and a whole bunch of shit happened to Sandra while she was on her own. So we're gonna hop back to Saturday, and Sandra is gonna tell us first of all about her Jensen ops.
Yeah,
because it's all about fucking Jensen.
Well, no,
apparently
I'm going in order. So Jensen
was because they came first.
Jensen was first.
Because they came first, so which Jensen... makes no sense logically or alphabetically. To be fair, like fucking A comes before E in my dictionary. I'm sorry, I'll stop being such a bitch. I'm very upset. I was hoping, like, I just don't have any fucking allies. In this, everywhere I get, like every space I frequent, Discord, you, Dreamer. I think my husband's favorite character is Dean.
So
I'm gonna check that.
I think we did
No,
I've done a table. So I think what? I did a table from before with the guests. So it's not a majority that's Dean.
No, it is pretty equal.
Yeah. So I think that there's that. But again, I just think because I'm around, my husband he's going to by osmosis just take in Dean, I think, just because of all of the, No,
I fully disagree with that because y'all have been watching Supernatural together like forever and a day. Mm-hmm. And his favorite character was Cass.
Mm-hmm.
So there's clearly independent thought gone into this. He was like, Cass.
There's a
shift. Painted by Misha.
Yeah.
Ding. And he could have gone anywhere with that. So just filling in some blank spaces because my husband is currently typing. Probably like, what? Because all he's obviously, I record upstairs away from my husband, away from my children. So he's not privy to any side of the conversation. He just got a random message from me that was just like, who is your favorite supernatural character?
He's like, I don't have one.
It could be that. He could be like, I don't have one. Or he's could
like, I'm sick
try.
Of it. I don't have one anymore.
He could try and go the Ted route and be like, it's Sam and Dean jointly, which I will not accept. That is an unacceptable answer.
What did he say?
Ag, on the spot. Ag, literally, A-R-G-H. On the spot, I don't know. When I grew to like with Rowena after she stopped being a bitch, I don't know about absolute fave, though.
Okay. Well, at least he didn't say Dean.
No, I bet if I push now and go think about it, it comes back Dean.
So I was going to do this. I had 2 photo ops with Jensen. So I was going to do one with Ted where I was going to have, I did make a poster that I think I'm just going to save for another time if I ever do another Jensen op that says your Dean is showing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But then we were going to have, I made like a little redacted rectangular sign that Ted was going to hold in front of Jensen. So basically like he couldn't because of the actor's strike and that kind of thing. But he wasn't feeling good. I said, just don't worry about that. I mean, I guess I'll just do the 2 Jensen ops by myself. I guess I'll just do that.
No. How awful for Sam.
So I didn't have any props for these, but I was going to have initially, okay, and this is where we get into, it was a lot busier. And I think it was because it was quicker, I guess is the term, than what I remember. They all go quickly, but this felt even quicker. And I think it's because there was really a delay in the schedule, like a big time delay, like both days they were behind a lot more than what I've been used to before. And again, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but there was a delay. Usually the last time I had the Jensen ops, I got to ask him what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
This time I had to talk to the handler. And so I think it was just to get things to move along quicker. And so I had said, I wanted a side by side with a smile at each other. So side hug with smiling at each other. And then I was like,
Yeah.
and then an over the shoulder hug from behind. So when I told her, then somehow in getting to him, he said hi and all that. But again, like it was very, very quick. It was just quick.
Yeah.
I got in position. I actually like went on the other side of him, which I was kind of proud of myself for because I was like, well, I like my profile from this side. So like, I had to go stand on this side. So I think I kind of threw him off a little bit that way, but I kind of like went on the other side. It wasn't like just swooped right in, went on the other side and then looked at him. But then I saw he was looking at the camera. I was like, fuck. So I was like, okay. So turned. And so I kind of had like a millisecond of just staring at Jensen and being like, huh, and then realizing he wasn't going to stare at me. I was like, okay, I've got to go and like look at the camera. So looked at the camera, did sort of like a mini smile. And then
it's cute.
And then he got behind me and did like the hug. And I think I told
Sandra
you, Karlee,
died.
like I like latched onto his arm. Like, you know, probably not heavily, but like I did touch his arm. Like I was like holding onto his arm. I'm like, okay, I hate these kinds of moments because I know I definitely smelled him the last time. I cannot tell you sensory a lot of things about it because it just happened really quickly. But I have a moment in time with a picture. It was good. He looked nice. He was dressed nice. Still not quite, you know, on board with the whole facial hair, but his bangs are very 90s dreamboat. So I guess we'll let that pass for now. It was good. He looked sweet. He didn't give me a big smile. And I don't know, just, and again, I think the emotions of the weekend, I just think like everybody was a little bit, you know, just in their feels or whatever. So, I can't say for sure, you know, if there was like what was going on or if it's just because it was so busy, but I just feel like I'm going to start calling it the Jensen machine, you know, where it's just like this.
Next one.
It's just, it's a lot. So, but I really did. I'm particularly fond of the over the shoulder one because I'm smiling so friggin' hard.
You look so happy. These photos they are all on Twitter. I think there's a couple from Baby Sis that didn't make it to Twitter, but we'll put them all in a Google folder so y'all can see. But Sandra looks the happiest I think I've ever seen any human being look ever. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. There is another picture that you could argue and say is happier, but we will discuss it. But that picture is going to stay private.
Yeah.
So this is the happiest Sandra like you'll ever see.
Yeah.
You genuinely, you look like you're floating. That is how happy you look.
Yeah.
And also, y'all need to know. He's like, you'll see the picture. So Jensen's standing behind it, and he's leaned down a long way because our Sandra is little.
Yeah, I wasn't wearing
tiny, like 5'2".
No, I'm 5'4".
5'2", 5'3".
I'm 5'4". I need that inch. I'm 5'4".
Where'd I get
5'4"?
Where'd I get 5'2" from?
I don't know.
Oh no, it's because you asked if Jay was as tall as you, and you told me 5'4", and I was like, no, they're 5'2". They're nearly as tall as you.
Yeah,
but Sandra is still from my lofty position of 5'8". Sandra's little.
Yeah. So that was.
You can see it. You can see a hint of bow leg behind you in that picture.
Well, you know what I'm
he's
waiting.
Kind of like, he's clearly bent at the knees and at the waist to get in frame with you.
I'm waiting for when we get the JPEGs back. Usually, there's a little more of like the full like body. You know what I mean? Like in there. So because then they crop it. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more of just like, you know, maybe more of him, you know, in the frame too, like just to stare at and ogle and all that good stuff. But yes, it was.
His leg follows the curve of your hip.
It's so funny. But I was over the moon
pictures
about
on the Impala Twitter account.
Yeah.
You should be. You've got your flannel on. You've got your radio company shirt. You look bomb. You've got really great big smile, and you're touching him. And
I
he's
was
touching
gonna
you, and
just wear the radio company shirt, but again, like I have this thing about my arms, so I was like, I'll just wear the plaid over top of it. So, you know,
The plaid
everybody's
suits you though. It's a beautiful color on you.
yeah. I thought blue would be nice, so I was like, okay, well, we'll because you know I like blue, so we'll go with that. We'll see how that works. So. Yeah. So I was kind of glad we didn't clash too much. I think I clashed more with just the plaid and the radio company shirt. He was just nice and neutral. So we're good.
You know,
I was good with
how
that.
do you clash at all? You've got black pants and a black shirt on, and then like a blue and black
I don't
plaid
know.
over the top.
I don't know.
You don't
I don't
clash.
know.
You don't clash. Shush,
I don't
you
know.
don't clash. She doesn't clash. Tell her she doesn't clash, people.
Okay.
Picture
So
on Twitter.
that was that, all of that loveliness. And then what I had to do was after my Jensen op, I had
She
to
went back and got another Jensen off.
no, I did those together. But then I had to go find
did you?
I had to go find a bathroom and go get changed because I had to put on my Jared, my approved surrogate Jared hugger t-shirt because my next op was a Jared op. So I had to go
try real hard not to cry.
So I had to go and do that. So I got changed, got in line. I think I put the flannel back on, but I had it so that if he took the time to see it, I don't know if he did or not, he would have seen, you know, like what it said on it. But
yeah.
So
we can put a picture on of the actual shirt design.
Yeah. I got a little bit behind the scenes what was actually going on too with I think all the stuff that had been going on with Krista for ChristaCon. As I was waiting in line, pretty sure that Jared had just had his photo op with Krista. So I'm in line waiting. I can sort of see between the barrier and like, you know, off to the side, I could see Jared. He looked visibly upset. You know, I put two and two together that it had to do with what had just probably occurred. So it did take him a couple minutes. I think I saw Chris, the photographer, was like talking to him. So he really needed some time just to, you know, deal with what was going on in the moment. So everybody
go
ahead.
I will say not to kind of not to distract obviously from ChristaCon, because that is, you know, it's a very, I can't imagine what it must have been like to be anybody like, you know, cast or crew as it were at the con that wouldn't have been affected by that. But Jared is known for getting emotional at cons at things that people say to him or gifts that they give him or things that they show him. So that's not uncommon, and it is, you know, I just want to draw attention to it because it's one of the things that I truly love about him, that he, you know, he feels his feelings and he'll take a minute, you know, he doesn't just kind of try and bury it all down. But they did make a point before the autographs just to say, like, you know, if you have something personal or, you know, emotional to tell them, you know, we you know, they'd much rather appreciate you writing it down and then handing them, you know, the note, and they will, you know, take the time later to you know, read it and take it in and all that stuff. So I'm sure it was just a roller coaster of emotions for him. But I think what was really sweet and special was that you could kind of see the fans kind of like, you know, giving him back all the love I think that he needed, you know, like as people were going in line. And I think it helped him too, you know, like through the moment, like little by little. So I was probably about, I don't know, 20 or 30 people like before that had happened, you know, before I got there. There was the sweetest little older lady with her must have been her daughter. And she was just scooting on over to him like right before me. And he was just like crouching all the way down just to like get her and just like envelope her and stuff like that, and took his time with her and stuff like that. And then I had to wait because they had to have somebody else come in. I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe a picture didn't come out right or whatever. Somebody else had to come in from the side to get another hug with him
I'm much more calm with Jared. I have what I think is going to work in our favor, Karlee, for whenever we are at a convention together, is you will handle Jensen the same way I handle Jared. It will be a much easier experience for you, just like it is for me with Jared. He's a sweetheart, but I don't have that.
Oh my
I don't
God.
even know if it's like
Yeah.
fear, or not even fear, but just I'm starstruck by him, but it's different. I feel comfortable with him in a way that I can't say I feel that I'm comfortable with Judson, because he embodies, again, like he embodies Dean to me. So it's a whole other level thing that I think you relate to with Jared. So
absolutely. So I will just interject just here very quickly to say that although we have had guests on the show that have met Jared and, have been like, fucking hell, tell me what it's like. This is the first op that Sandra has ever had just with Jared. He's been in like he was in the quad op with Alex and Misha and stuff like that. But this is the first time that Sandra has just gone for Jared. So I was like, call me. Like, I want you stepping out of the photo booth on the goddamn phone. You tell me what that man feels like and smells like, which sounds very creepy. I will admit that. But Jensen is very well known. If you speak to people that have met Jensen, he's very well known for smelling really fucking good. And people can tell you like what cologne he wears and things like that. But nobody ever seems to fucking mention Jared. Nobody, I can't find it on the internet. Nobody will tell me what he smells like. And the closest we got was Jessica. I think it was Jessica, who was just like minty. That's what he smells like, minty. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, fine. But now I have this up close personal moment. Like my friend who could contact me immediately is going to be literally like hugging this man. So I was like, you call me. Like, I'm a millennial. I don't call anybody. And she certainly doesn't call anybody. So I was like, voice message me. I'm saying call because it's easier, but voice message me. You voice message me fucking immediately. I want you out of the booth on your phone telling me what he smells like, what he feels like, what he was like. And my God, did she live up to it? She fully did. I got a voice clip, but I got a few messages from when she was in line, just, saying, something's going on at the con. Jared's a bit upset, but like, it's fine. I'll fill you in later. And then it went quiet. So I was like, oh, Sandra's not one known particularly for being glued to her phone in the same way that I should have. So I just assumed you just like maybe chat to someone. And then I assumed in this period, this Jared not happened. And then it came through. Sandra has sent you a voice clip and my stomach dropped, which is a stupid reaction to have, but it did. I was like, oh my God, it's happened. So I got this voice clip that was like very frantic and very rushed because obviously Sandra is then going to she's going to go get changed. She's not going to walk around in a shirt that says certified Jared hugger.
So let's state though that, okay, one of the reasons too why I have not gotten a Jared hug is because I think
I might have been a little bit territorial about that.
Yeah. So I was like,
I might have said things like, I will hug
don't
you down
dare.
If you touch that
I will
man.
kill you if you touch him before I do. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll do that right now. So we had a discussion, I think. But I think what's happened is that, and I've said this to you, I think over the years, I think you've come to trust me with Jared / Sam, and that I will be careful with him, for you, for that. So we came to a discussion that, okay, well, if you wear a shirt,
no, I don't know. The shirt was your idea. The shirt was your idea.
But it would
what
show
I had said was
approval.
Leave room for me. You got to leave room for me. That was what we settled on. Leave room for me. But like me saying Sandra had never got like a Jared photo op alone was not anything like, oh, Sandra doesn't want a Jared op. I was very, very aggressive, which I will say, if you are a new listener, Sandra lives on the east coast of the United States and I live in England. We are an ocean apart.
Still scared me.
At the time, we were only communicating via text on Twitter. So you think how passionate and scary I must have been about that to frighten her from an ocean away via text, because I was very, very territorial. I was like, this is my human. Don't you fucking touch him before I do. I will be so pissed. And then there's a lot of like there's a lot of background stuff that goes on there between like me and Sandra's friendship. But she is right. At the time, when, you know, like the cons were starting up again in 2021, we didn't know each other that well. So I was like, don't you fucking dare. That's my my emotional support, son. Fucking dare. But then, like, things have changed. And obviously, we know each other a lot better. We're a lot closer friends now. We do this together. And I was like, when Sandra was sort of thinking about doing this con, I was in a place where I had come to peace with the fact that I was probably never going to get to meet Jared and Jensen. And I was like, you know what? You go hug that man for me. You go give him a cuddle from me, okay? That was kind of the place I was in. And then, of course, after that, he started showing up in the UK and rekindled my whole fucking fruit. But we'll get to that. So, yeah, that is no tarnish on Sandra's reputation that she didn't want a Jared photo or a cuddle. I made it very clear that shit would not fly, which paints me out to be such an asshole.
Oh gosh, but it's been like a running joke, really. Like I think, but then it got to the point where it was like, okay, well, you know, what if I, you know, I'll get the hug. I'll get the hug for you. You know, like it's like, let me get the hug and, you know, get the hug and experience it for you. They will, I'm sure, get a hug in person, but this, like, you know, eases them in.
Yeah.
Vicariously, like, you know, sort of like that way. So
vicariously. Just before you get into describing this hug and everything that went on with it, I just want it noted, right, that every single time, and bear in mind, Sandra has run the gamut from COVID to now. So Sandra has had photo ops with with Jensen, with the plexiglass. She's had photo ops where they weren't allowed to touch. There was plexiglass, but they weren't allowed to touch. She's had like selfie style photos, full on hugs. You know, she's hung off his fucking arm, you know, like an hour before that. Not hung off his arm, but you know what I mean. She's had run the spectrum of hugs with Jensen. And every time she walks away and she goes, I had my Jensen off. And I go, what was it like? You know, what was it like? How does he feel? How does he smell? How great was it? And I get back the same thing. It was a blur. I don't remember. Every time I ask you, and we're not just talking about Jensen's solo ops, we're talking about the quad that you had with Misha and Alex as well. Everything. She comes back to me and she's like, I don't remember. I think the closest we got was, you said, he smells like before a storm, like ozone.
That was the one. And I was like, that was the one where I finally got the hug. Yeah. And that one was, I think I was like, God damn it, Sandra, you've got to try to stay present for the moment, at least for 5 fucking seconds. Just do it. So again, I think because I'm sure it was busy last time, but it just felt even busier and rushed. And I just don't think there wasn't room in my brain, you know, for that. So I think I was also like, let me just kind of like make sure I'm present for Jared, you know?
Yeah. That's the point I was, you know, that's kind of where I was going with that. Like, we're talking like, it was busy. I could hear Sandra walking through the convention as she's sending this voice note that says, you know, it was amazing. He's a sweetheart. He smells really minty and really like clean.
He smells, I didn't get a hint of like cologne or anything. Like I didn't get anything overpowering from him. The only thing was obviously like either he was gum, like chewing mints constantly. Or gum. But I know that Jensen does that too, but I don't feel like Jensen smells like minty the way that Jared does. So yeah, I guess he just constantly is chewing always it. But gum. So I would love to know what kind of gum he chews, because like it didn't smell like a bubble gum. You know, like that bubble gum pink, like you think pink bubble gum. Wasn't that?
Yeah.
It kind of
like felt actual like mint chewing
like
gum.
Peppermint, spearmint, like that kind of thing, I think. Like that kind of smell.
That kind of gums, I'm chewing it right now. Mine's got no flavor because I've had it in for like a couple of hours, but
why would you have it in for a couple of hours? We've only been talking for like half an hour.
I know, right? I know. You don't know. I could have had this gum in from when I was at work. I think I did, actually. I think I do. I am also, the thing is, I try and occupy my hands and my mouth, which sounds really dirty, but it isn't. Because if I don't occupy those two things, I will pick at my nails and my fingers and make myself bleed. So I'm like, if I have something in my mouth, then my brain is focusing on that and not like chewing on my fingernails.
Gotcha.
And then if I keep my hands busy, then I'm not, like I'm not picking at the skin either. But yeah, that's like, I know exactly what you mean. That kind of comes like super.
Are you delaying me talking about this? I feel like you're delaying me talking about Jared. Are you prepping yourself? Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. All right.
Feels like it a little bit.
Bubblegum in the UK is for kids, okay? Adults to spearmint peppermint gum.
I know, but when I think bubblegum, like
really
that's kind of like the smell that I think bubblegummy.
Right.
I think like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
right.
Okay. So after the sweet little old lady, and then another person that had to, rude, get their picture retaken. But I didn't mind because I was just taking in the scene around me. And I don't think I had to ask the handler what I wanted. I think I just went over I might have said I wanted a hug, but then when I went in front of the man, I walked in front, I was like, I am stopping and I am telling him this thing. I said, I don't care who likes it or who doesn't like it. And he's very tall. So I think he kind of like bent down a little bit to kind of hear what I was saying. And I was like, can you give me a hug that my friend in the UK will be able to feel? And he was like, got it. And he just kind of like enveloped me. And I was, I think, preparing the look on my face, which you will never see because it's for Karlee.
The private
the
photo,
look
guys.
On my face, I think I was preparing to be crushed by this man from what I had heard. So I was prepping myself, like sort of like when a crash is imminent, like just like prepping myself. So I wrapped myself around him, and I've got this squeezy face, like waiting. But I will tell you, I feel like he was very gentle with me in the hug, even though he's enveloped me and I'm completely smothered by all that is Jared Padalecki around me. There was a lot of care in that hug. And I just felt like I really was just like, okay, I'm just going to try and channel this all to Karlee right now. Just going to try and channel this all to Karlee so that she would be able to feel it. But it felt very safe and protected and very sweet. So, and he made a point of like, when we were done, he kind of like pulled me back a little bit, just kind of like gave me a nod. And I said, thank you. And he said, thank you. Then I walked out, and then I went about sending Karlee what I thought was a long 2-minute message and ended up not hitting record the way I was supposed to. So then I hurried up and sent them another 1.5 minutes after that. Because I did try to capture it right after. So I tried to get myself like off to a corner somewhere before I got back to because then I had to go change again, because I will talk about why I went to change again, what I thought we were going to do. But yeah, that was my experience with him. He was a sweetheart. He was an absolute sweetheart. Yeah. And I'm glad I got to do that for you. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm okay.
You're okay.
It's fine.
Okay, good.
It's fine. I'm okay.
Good.
Yeah, no, I am okay. If you follow us on Twitter, you will probably have seen the disgustingly gushy post that I made on Twitter. Because at the time, like obviously Sandra is 5 hours behind me. So at the time this was occurring, it was like the evening time for me. And by the time Sandra had gone and got her, like picked up her copy of the picture and gone back to the hotel, it's kind of late.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in my house has gone to bed, but I'm staying up because fuck you, it's Saturday and I work all week. I'm staying up whether I want to or not. So she's gone back to the hotel. She's taken the picture
because it took a while,
and she's
it takes about an hour and a half to get the photo back. And my plan was, before we start talking, was to take the autograph.
You had an auto as well.
I had an autograph. So I was going to take my shirt off, which I did. I changed back into my radio company t-shirt. I went to the bathroom, changed. I was going to get the shirt signed. Well, just as I'm by myself, Ted had left, and I was like, they say, so things you can and can't get signed. Clothing, can have been previously warned. And I know I could have just not said anything and just had him sign it. But again, I just didn't want to
respect.
I wanted to respect that they didn't want that, even though I'd only worn it for technically like probably not even like 10 or 15 minutes. I was like, no. Okay. So I figured, okay, I'm going to wait. Next day, I would get Jared to sign the picture of it. So I finally got the photo and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go back to the hotel. And I don't remember if I sent you the picture. I might have sent you the picture like right before. Did I send you the picture when I got back to the hotel? I can't remember.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You waited.
I sent it when I got back.
You sent it to me with all the other photos that you'd had done that day. So you sent over the baby shots. No, I think you might have sent them to me already. But you sent over your Jensen shots.
Yeah.
And Jared as well. And I remember very vividly, I hadn't stayed up specifically for this photo, but I was up alone. And I remember really vividly getting a message that was like, okay, are you ready? I have it. And getting this picture through. And I will try and get through this without getting emotional. And then like, again, if you follow us on Twitter, you will see my disgusting blubbery post on Twitter. And I sent Sandra a voice clip in tears as well. So it's twofold, really. It's twofold. The first thing is that we've spoken a million times on this podcast about imposter syndrome and, crazy brain, anxiety brain, and all the things that does to you. And one of the things that my brain tells me on a minutely basis, especially this week, that's an exaggeration, but like I would say at least once a day, is you're not good enough. Nobody likes you. You're not worthy. All that kind of ick. But on a good day, you go, fuck off. But then on a bad day, you're like, nobody likes me. I'm unlovable. So the first kind of like the first part of why this hit me so hard, and it actually has nothing to do with Jared, really, not this particular bit, is that obviously these photo ops, they cost money and they're not cheap, and Sandra had not asked for any funds or anything for this photo, even though it right from the off she had said that it was for me. So Sandra's taken her funds to put towards this. It's her time, it's her con experience, it's a vacation with her husband. A whole heap of other shit was happening that weekend. She had still carved time out of her life to include me in this experience, and that hit me like a ton of fucking bricks. That really, really did. Completely like a semi to the face, because I hear so frequently in my brain, and I've heard so often from people that used to be in my life that aren't in my life anymore, that I'm not a good person, I'm not worthy of the things that I have, I'm unlovable, I'm all this kind of stuff. And then I was just like, me and Sandra are not strangers, we are very good friends, but on the face of it, never clapped eyes on each other apart from through a camera. We live literally, the Atlantic Ocean is between us, and like Ireland, maybe. I don't know how far up England Ireland comes, but the island of Ireland is also there. So there's this whole fucking space, and I'm not just a random internet stranger to Sandra, I am still in some ways a stranger in that I am not physically present in your life, like day to day. It's a digital presence. Like I'm still around. I'm like, hi, sending memes, blah, 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 whatever. And the idea that you had, first of all, that you taken I want to call them jokes, but genuinely there was feeling behind them. My jokes about not, having photos with Jared, and that you'd actually taken them seriously.
Yeah, I wanted to be respectful of your feelings about him.
But you didn't have to be, though, did you? Like, I would, like, what could I have done? If you'd gone, fucking listen to this randomer on Twitter, shut up.
But wouldn't even have thought of doing anything that would have, like, hurt your heart. You know what I mean? So I was respectful of that.
That's just yeah. that you've been respectful of who was to you at that time an internet stranger, and you've been respectful of me, and then you've been like, okay, what if? Because we had like I said at the time, Sandra was kind of like booking this con and stuff. I had just come to peace with it. I was like, you know what? Fucking hug that man. I'm never gonna get to. You hug him for me. You give him a big fucking cuddle, and you tell him it's from you and it's from me as well. And I will. That is the best I'm gonna get. And then you've done this for me. And I'm not saying that you would never have got a Jared photo op or a Jared hug for yourself, but the first one, this one, was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me like a ton, genuinely like a semi to the face. So I'm sat there in my living room. It's like 10 p.m. at night, bawling my eyes out, composing Twitter, like writing in a Google Doc so I could screen grab it because I didn't have enough fucking characters on Twitter and I wasn't going to make a threat. Sending Sandra like bawling voice clips, and I could not stop looking. I couldn't stop looking at this photo. I just couldn't stop looking at it. I'm hoping that you guys that are listening will understand that this is a photo from the con that is I'm not going to share. And if you think that's selfish, I'm sorry, but this is much more than a photo to me, and I want to keep it to myself. But it is, as we established earlier on, Sandra is like 5'4", so she's tiny, and she's especially tiny next to Jared. And I think you said that he'd already kind of like leaned in, but he's not. Like I'll describe the photo to you guys. He's standing straight. He's not like hunched over or bent over or anything. And she like her arms are meeting around his back, which is fucking impressive, really. Because there's so much of him, guys. Fucking hell. And he's got her in. I really think the only word enveloped, embrace is the only word. And he's just like got a hand on the side of her head and his arm on the back. He's just kind of like leaning his head on her head. And it's this really sweet, like thoughtful moment is the only way I can describe it. And we all know Jared can do silly and he can do serious. And this, like, he understood the assignment, guys.
Oh yeah.
He was like, this is more than just a hug for a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to, like I said, I wanted him to understand that. I mean, with everything else going on, it's like, this is another moment that's very important, for someone. And, and he was a sweetheart. He was a sweetheart. I love that his hair is growing back. Like, I'm sure he's going to cut it again for Walker, but at least for this photo, we got nice length, got nice bangs.
Longer, yeah.
He's
got a nice
it's very
going
Sam.
on. Y'all have seen.
It's very Sam. He's wearing a plaid. It's just Sam. Like, I think you see Sam in that too. And I think that's what's special about that photo.
That actually looped me really, really greatly around to my second point of why this hit me like a ton of fucking bricks. And I don't think, maybe it's been in an outtakes episode, but I don't think I've ever discussed it like podcast wise. But when Jared started coming back to the UK, and he's here this weekend actually, in Scotland, and I missed him in May in Wales. I found out about it the week before, by which point, tickets have gone, hotels have gone, And I found out that he was going to be in Scotland, and I was a few months ago when it was announced, and I was like, right, that's it, I'm going. And then when I actually looked, I could get back home from Wales on the same day. I can't get back home from Edinburgh on the same day so then it was turning into an overnight stay, and then it was turning into like a 2-night stay because we've had to go up on the Friday to be there for like doors opening on the Saturday, and then there was travel and hotel, and obviously the hotels know something's going on, so they whack the prices up for that weekend. And it had not got to be prohibitively expensive, but it had got to be bad financial decision expensive, where I was like, I could totally do this, but I am going to regret that. When the credit card statement comes due, I'm going to hate myself. So I had made the decision that I was not going to go to Scotland, and I was going to start saving up, cross my fingers and my toes that he came back in in 2024, and I would go wherever he was. You know, I would save up the money, and then it wouldn't matter. I would just go. But I had said to Sandra, since actually me personally hugging Jared had become a potential possibility, that I was going to ask him to hug me like Jared would hug Sam. You know, like the kind of hug that he knows that Sam needs. It's the kind of hug that I need. And even though Sandra knew this was not something she'd said to Jared, and he obviously, there's no way of knowing this, but he also nailed the fucking assignment because the pose that he has chosen for this photo is exactly what I imagine when I imagined that in my head. So I was like, oh my God, my friend did this for me. This is incredible. And then also, oh my God, this is what it would be, you know? This is the hug that I would have asked for. So I'm not there, but I am there, you know, in all the ways. So there was tears. There was a lot of tears. There was an immediate changing of my lock screen on my iPad, because I was like, I kept going back to the photo to look at it and look at it and look at it. Like, still now. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to make this a screen somewhere. And a lot of my screens are of my kids. So I'm kind of like, oh, can't really do that. You know, I like the pictures I've chosen of my children because they make me happy.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't in good conscience replace them. Especially because it's a picture. My children are very young. My youngest is less than a year old, and my eldest would have been, I don't know, 6, maybe 7. And they're playing in a playground, and my youngest, they're on like a kind of like a, I don't know how to describe it, like a multi-person swing. So it's kind of like a net instead of like a swing seat that you can put more than one person in. And my youngest is looking up at my eldest like he hung the moon and the stars. And I can never change that picture. My youngest is 5 now, but they loved each other in that moment. I think they probably still love each other now, but maybe not quite as much. So I, unfortunately, it was one of the cat photos that got yeeted out. So the lock screen was immediately changed for this picture of Jared and Sandra. There were tears, and I held it together really well, guys. Are you all proud of me? So I suppose kind of like live now, because I sent Sandra this sobbing voice clip, and then I was like, if you are the kind of person that cries when other people cry, I am really fucking sorry.
Aww.
I'm very sorry. But no, you sent me back a lovely voice clip with no tears, and you were like, I'm so glad to do this for you. You know, I'm so happy. But like live on air, as it were, thank you. Endlessly. I call myself an author, and I do not have the words to explain what this means. It is so much more than a picture, a photo. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Endlessly.
And, you know, I think a lot of it too is just like, you know, me wanting to say thank you too for all the time and effort that, you know, you give to me with, you know, the ranting and the podcast and all of the things that, you know, I think we've shared over, you know, the past 2-3 years, being there as a friend, even if it's digitally. Sometimes that's worth more than people you see every goddamn day. You know, you're important to me. You're special to me. So don't listen to all the bullshit. I know the brain will say what it's got to say, but try to focus on the people that really care, you know, that really care about you. And, you know, just know that I think as much as we complain about, you know, how expensive the cons are and everything, I think there's a care that the actors do have for their fans that peeks through. And I think this is one of those maybe special like kismet moments, you know, where I think everything kind of aligned for certain reasons. And this just, you know, that moment just kind of happened, you know, the way that it should have happened. So I'm doing all the tulping I can. And, you know, that will lead into, I think, what happened the next day as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Saturday. Saturday was very fun. The concert was, again, like, could go over and over about the concert. Again, it was just was magical to see Jensen perform Whipping Post in person for that. So I was glad to get to see that, live and in person that night. Looked really good.
He did though. His bangs were on point.
He really did. There was a lot of, again, like he wasn't getting excessive. I don't know if he just decided he was just going to pull it back a little bit. I think he should pull it back more and just let himself shine through in a lot of these situations. And I think that's what he did for the concert. But it was a very sweet, special concert. They did a lot of, I think, different songs that I hadn't heard. Brianna was just, her voice was gorgeous for that song. I'm hoping get to see it. I don't know if you've seen any clips of it or not, but again, I'm waiting for the concert because it was just, she got a standing ovation for that.
Amazing.
I think Jensen got a standing ovation for Whipping Post, but Brianna getting it for that was totally, she just knocked it out of the goddamn park with that song. It was amazing. So again, the concert, if you get a chance to see it online, hopefully a lot of special moments. And Rob did get upset quite a bit when he was talking, about Krista and stuff like that. So it was very, very heartfelt.
There's a lot. It's very difficult to do something for the last time and know it's going to be the last time, because that's what really happens. You know when the first time or something is, obviously, but it floats around a lot in parent groups. One day you'll pick your child up and you'll put them down and you'll never pick them up again, but you don't know when that's going to be. One day will be the last time that you see a friend, not necessarily because anything bad's going to happen, just because life drifts you apart. So so I think to have that knowledge of this is the last time that Krista is going to hear Rob perform this song or that song, that must weigh very heavily. And because Rob so often is the MC, I suppose, for the events as well, and opens and closes them and things, he probably knows Krista quite well from recording the comms and taking photos. So I think that must be very difficult and very, very admirable to get up on stage and, perform for her, even with that really heavy knowledge that this is the last time. Yeah.
She is one of the reasons I, just like a lot of other people have stated, if you never saw one of her videos, you didn't know what the experience could have been like. And it kind of makes you want to experience that in person. And I think that she did a lot for the fandom, and even just being able to give people, people who will never be able to have the chance to see them in person, to experience years of their stuff. It's a history of these actors and the show and the stories, the things that we normally wouldn't really know about. We've gotten all of these. She's one of the reasons, that Jensen and Jib lifted shirt up, that kind of stuff is just iconic stuff in the fandom that, she's one of the people that got that on film, and it's now it's never going away, that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's a special gift to be able to give that to so many people.
Oh yeah.
So I hope she knows how, I think she does, how much her time and effort has been appreciated by so many. So yeah, it was a Krista concert. It was a Krista Con. I guess segueing into Sunday, I ended up going to the first part of the convention because my husband doesn't have the healthiest back, and he probably overdid it Saturday. So he was going to rest up and the idea was come back, towards the end of the afternoon, go to the hotel for the convention, for the panel, Jared and Jensen panel. Cause I had a Jared and Jensen photo op. So again, this is the first Jared and Jensen photo op I had back in Charlotte. there was plexiglass between us. So
Yep.
I
Plexiglass.
that one I'd taken with my husband, but nope, this one's me. I've done the hug. I've done the Karlee hug. I was told to enjoy this one. This is for me. My intention, and again, I totally screwed it up because it was very cold, and I had a short sleeve shirt that had idling in the Impala on the sleeve, just the sleeve. So my thought was, it's on the right hand, my right arm. So I was like, okay, well, whoever's on the side that I would get to show my sleeve, that's who I would hug, and then the other person would, hug me from behind. So, but then in the interim, it was so freaking cold that I put my plaid overshirt on. So I totally forgot to take it off for the picture. So unfortunately, idling in the Impala is not in this photo. It's in there. It's just hidden. You will never see it. But
it's okay.
So again, it was just basically like, got in line, told the handler, I think I told the handler, yeah, like I wanted a big squish. And Jensen was on the side that got the hug. And
good Lord, they understood the fucking assignment.
They didn't they? So like, I think Jared just knows he's got to scrunch down because Chris will never get him in the photo because I'm just kind of like there. I made a point of not wearing heels for this convention because I kind of was like, no, I just want to see exactly how short I am. And I kind of want to see how short I am in comparison to these men. So yeah, it was, I asked both of them. I think I looked at both of them at some point. I was like, can I just get a big hug? And they were like, yeah, sure. So I was like, swooped in. Jensen's kind of like higher, Jared's kind of lower. I think Jared's hair is on my hair. I'm looking, let me find it.
It is. And Jensen is giving just such a fabulous, like, model face. It's beautiful. Like he's clearly adjusted his head just recently because he's not in a part. Yeah. Like he's run his hands through his bangs and like smooshed them over to one side.
Yeah.
And this is just Sandra's tulpa skills have come out in full force with Con because this is another sunshine smile. This one you can see on Twitter, but you're not missing a sunshine smile in my photo of Jared because he's not smiling. He's just in the moment. But the J2 and Baby off, there's one of Jared kind of like posing, and then the second one where he's like, just gently crushing Ted into the floor. It's got a big sunshine smile on his face. And he's the same here. It's a big sunshine smile. And I think I saw on Twitter, he does some funky things with his legs. Because he can't squat down, can he?
He kind of crabbed it. Like he kind of like goes around like a crab. So maybe we'll find out when I eventually get the full JPEGs what the actual stance looks like. Yeah.
I saw, I don't know how they got the picture, but I did see somebody had posted on Twitter like what his legs were doing in their photo op to get him to their height, and it was because he's fucked his knee, so he can't crouch. And also like he can't crouch because while Jensen, as is my understanding with Sandra, Jensen keeps a respectable distance between you and him. Jared will just glom you. Like Jared gives zero fucks about how close touching you guys might be. So if he like actually squatted down, there'd be like a gap between you and him because his knees would be in the way.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He does some weird, funky ballerina-esque shit with his knees and his ankles to get down to your height. So when you see this picture on Twitter, or if you click the link in the description, I just imagine to yourself what the fuck he might be doing because Jensen isn't giving a goddamn inch. Jensen is like, there is 6'1" of me and you reach as high as you reach, motherfucker. Which is about I think maybe if you were standing on your tippy toes, maybe the top of your head would brush the underside of his chin.
So I feel like his respectable distance has his butt. So I think he's leaned away a little bit. So I still don't think.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not quite. I still think he's giving me a little balance because I think I would probably not. I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like even the other one's not accurate because I was wearing heels. Sorry, my head's going in different directions looking at different pictures, but
no, it's fine. No, even from this picture, it's kind of, we'll have to wait for the official JPEGs to come in because there's a light flash on this one, but he is kind of like sort of leaning his chest over and making sure like his hips and his legs are away from Sandra. So he's lost a bit of height in the hunch over. But again, I think when you've probably been sexually assaulted as many times as Jensen Ackles has, you just protect yourself.
Yeah.
We all know Sandra's a fucking delight. She's not going to do a goddamn thing. But and you said it to me in all your photos with him. You know, he
just seems respectful. He
respectful
knows.
Distance away.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if he takes, like, when he takes directions from other people for what I consider questionable photos. I still don't think he still doesn't, like, he doesn't give it 100%. You know, he just doesn't. And I kind of like him for being, I appreciate that he does that. You know, I like that he knows what his limits are, and he's going to do whatever he feels he's most comfortable with at the end. And I think that is respectable.
Yeah.
You know?
That is how it should be.
Yeah.
There are enough con horror stories about people, you know, that have tried to cop a feel and tried to do things. And I mean, hell, we have a whole episode on how it's not sexual assault, it's against the man. Yeah. So, you know, and as much as I love Jared's very puppy-like ability to just
but it
be
is
like,
very puppy-like. That's the thing. It's very puppy. Like, it's different. Like, even though he's all over somebody, it's like puppy innocent. You know what I mean? Like, it has innocent, this different quality to it where, like, I think Jensen will give you more of a certain assignment if needed, but still he
maintains very strict boundaries that
there.
are
Yeah.
He will only play, for lack of a better word, within his own boundaries, and I fully respect the shit out of that because we know even recently Jensen specifically has refused to do poses that have been asked of him. So people are still trying to cross those lines and still trying to push those barriers, and I respect the fuck out of the fact that he does not bend, you know. And that's not just for cons. A lot of the stuff we heard from behind the scenes of the boys, and they wanted Soldier Boy to be much more lewd, I suppose might be the right word. And Jensen was be like, I, as a son and a father and a husband, no, fully no. And a lot of people would maybe bend to peer pressure in that situation, especially on set, like with the boys, and turning down Kripke's like, what about this and what about this, and being like, I'm not going to do that and then face my parents, look my wife in the eye, you know, I have children. No. Yeah,
and I think a lot of it is the respect for the other people that he has. Like, I think that's the thing too. Like, I know we're going on a tangent, but like in that one scene with Soldier Boy and those older women, like, I think they could have played that up a lot differently. And I think the way that Jensen does it as Soldier Boy, he's just enjoying the shit out of those ladies and the situation. And he's like, you know, getting all that. And then I think there's like, there's a clip that's, I think, an outtake where he's like outside of his hotel room with like one of the maids who's an older woman. But he's got like his arm wrapped around it, and he's just like, he's embodying this character of just like loving these women and just enjoying that aspect of it. And I like that about him. I like that it's this weird thing that I think might put some people off, but I'm like, but he knows inside like what his moral compass tells him is the right way to go and what to push and what not to push. And I like that. I like that about him.
Yeah. So. I fully respect that. And as you say, a lot of the stuff on the boys came down to other actors' comfort as well. I know particularly the scene you're thinking of with the older ladies that he gets walked in on. I believe that was meant to be like a full sex scene, and it was Jensen that went, oh, no, that's disrespectful to them, and I'm not going to do that. And I remember he was very clear on the fact, as a son, as a husband, as a father, as a married man with a family, no, absolutely not. But I found it interesting that he included son in that as well, that he wasn't going to, not that he would embarrass his parents, he's a grown man, but like it was respect for his parents to not see their son behave that way as well. That I really respect. So it's, they hold their boundaries, but they come at them from very different angles. And you never look at Jared glomming on somebody. You never even raise an eyebrow. It's like a puppy leaping up to lick your face. You're just like, oh my god, you squishy baby.
They're just so very different. It's so interesting to see it together. Like even in that one picture,
as Sandra mentioned earlier on, it's almost like a machine. Just like next one. Didn't get time to breathe.
Yeah,
and I probably just all got on top of him. But he's present in the photo. It's beautiful. He's snuggling her. His hands are enormous.
Look at the hands. Look at Jared's hands, like right on top of mine. Those are big hands.
Jared's wrist is twice the size of Sam's wrist. It's incredible. Like their hands, his hand is above hers on Jensen's back. He's twice the size. His head is like twice the size of your head. He's an enormous man. And you know what? I bet when I get my Jared hug, even though I've seen all these photos and I have comparison, I bet I'm still like, Jesus Christ, he's huge.
Yeah, you don't really, you forget, I think, and that's the thing, like until you like walk up to them, you forget like how tall they are. Or they walk by you. Like you forget, because even though you see them on TV and they're big, seeing them in person is a totally different thing.
Yeah, there's like knowing and knowing.
Yeah. So but it was great. And I got a thank you from both of them. I got a little pat from Jensen when I left. I do remember getting a pat from Jensen when I left for that one. That was I was tickled with that picture and that hug.
Sandra looks very happy. Jared's also wearing a bracelet that's clearly a fan gift. And the only reason I bring this up is because you won't be able to make it out in the images that are on Twitter. And obviously Sandra won't get her JPEGs back for a while, but it does say moose on it because Sandra and Ted looked at the actual paper copy.
We turned it around. I was like, oh, it's moose. It's because at first we were like, moose. What the heck is that supposed to be? And I'm like, it's moose. It's moose. Yeah, it was cute.
Well, I zoomed in on it and I was like, I wonder if it says Krista or something, but none of the letters even had a vague shape of an eye.
Yeah.
So I assume not. But no, it's clearly a fan gift. I don't think his kids call him Moose. But it's it's like a beaded bracelet. So we'll just clear that up now. If you're looking, it says Moose.
I think somebody was giving away those friendship bracelets, and I think they had made one for Jared, and I think they gave it to him, and I think he slipped it on, and he just was wearing it. So that was.
I hope that Jensen got one that said squirrel.
Probably, he probably did. I hope. Yeah. So that was a photo op. So then a little bit of context before this next little part of the story was I was trying to connect with different people at the convention. So one person that I knew that was going to be there was Michelle from SPN Fanfic Pond, who we've had on with interview about the community and different things like that. I knew they were going to. We're trying to get
you back, Michelle.
Yeah, I did.
Answer our emails.
I did mention that to her, that I was gonna do it again. I was, we were texting a little bit back and forth, and she told me where she was sitting. She was sitting towards the front. She'd been taking pictures, but she said she was going to be, running around in between stuff, but that hopefully we could catch up. I went into the bathroom after. I was like, I need to use the bathroom. So there's this special little bathroom all the way down that's across from the gym. That's kind of out of the way at this hotel. And it's kind of like a little reprieve spot. And I walked in and I saw a little scooter, and Michelle had said she'd be scooting around on her scooter. So I saw this scooter. There was nobody there. And I was like, oh, wouldn't this be funny if this was Michelle? So then the toilet flushes. She comes out and I'm like, Michelle. I'm like, Sandra, because I still have my COVID. I have my mask on. And we had done like a test video, I think, before our interview once. So I knew what she looked like and stuff like that. And she knew what I looked like. So yeah, we chatted for about like 5 minutes. I gave her one of my idling in the Impala keychains that I'd had made. And I gave her an extra one. I said, here, if you find somebody, I said, because I haven't gotten any takers yet for my bracelet, for my keychains, nobody's come by. And she gave me like a cute little postcard for the fanfic pond and some stickers and the little smile stone and stuff like that. And she was off to do, I think, a photo op and then more pictures. And she was just going to be really busy. So I gave her a hug and said I was going to, try to get her and MJ back on, for another interview soon. And yeah, so that was, I've said, of course, I'm going to meet her. When I finally meet her, it's going to be in the bathroom. So it was like, that's how
far worse places to meet somebody.
That's how that ended up working out. Again, if you get the chance, if the panel for J2 goes up and you don't have to tilt sideways to watch it, I definitely recommend watching it just for like the Delaware bits, which is so cute.
Yeah.
I was just so excited about that. And it was a good one. It was, again, maybe it's just because they don't have as much time together as much anymore, but I feel like those are kind of like their reunion times. And you can just feel, I think, because of the convention in general, just feel the love for them. But Jensen gets very ornery about a certain question about, it's not called the bucket list. It's called the fuck it list. And he like really like goes to town on this one person. Like his dean comes out and he's very adamant, it's just, it's very fun. It's a fun, fun panel.
Can I get some context on that? Because a fuck it list isn't that the opposite of a bucket list of stuff you would never do?
Fuck it's like, I need to do all of these things, but fuck it. I'm just going to do this one thing that I really kind of want to do. And Jensen kind of was of the mindset like, no, responsibilities. Yeah, let's just slide. And it was just like, he was getting really like irate. Like, Jared was like, oh, calm down. Yeah. But he went off on that for about like 6 minutes. But there's some cute little stories and stuff. And yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I keep saying to Karlee, when we actually get like a good video of it, like I want it downloaded and saved, because having been there, I kind of want to have this remembrance just in case something happens to it at some point and you can't get to it on YouTube anymore. So we're keeping an eye out on it. Who knows? It could be out now. It could be out now as we go into 12-1-2. Okay, we're going into 3 hours. This might be a two-parter. This might be a two-part episode.
There's a whole bunch of shit that's going to get cut out.
I know it's still going to be long. So
look, a lot of this was a really busy con for Sandra. A lot of shit happened.
I know this was there was a lot. It really felt like a lot this time, even though I feel like it did last time too. But I don't know. This one was just, there's a lot of things that had to get done. Like that was like, it was a mindset. Like we've got to get these things done. So the end of the night on Sunday, it was autographs. Ted stayed for the J2 panel. Then I sent him back to the hotel. I said, just go relax. I will wait to get my autographs because I knew it was going to be late. They, again, were very late to get started. I ended up getting to go to Jared's first. So I had the picture that I took for Karlee. So the Karlee hug.
Karlee will compose themselves again.
And so I got to go to them first. I got to go to Jared's line first because Jensen's was hella long again. I was like, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Very popular, man.
And it kind of like, Jared was kind of like going through it, like I think at a pretty good clip though, which was good. And so I got up to Jared and I basically like, I made a point of like pointing at the picture. I said, I had this picture taken for my friend in the UK and they've asked if you will please make it a priority to come back again next year to a con, because that's when they can afford it. And
just announced my financial instability to Jared.
And I actually I think the handler next to him started laughing at like the very specific reasons as to why we have to make sure this happens next year. Like, I know you're coming. I know you're coming this year, but you got to come next year. And he's like, I would love to. And I'm like, okay, good. I will let them know. So, and he took his time. He kind of looked at the photo, signed it, gave me a sweet little smile and said, thank you. And I said, thank you. And then
she sent the photo to me. And I immediately updated my lock screen.
And
no, I didn't.
You waited until I scanned it. You waited until I scanned it. I scanned another version of it until I get the actual like JPEG. The Jensen
and then Jensen
had to wait in line.
Outdone
again. So I didn't really know what I was going to get him initially to sign. I had batted around a few things, but I kind of didn't want him to feel, I don't know, I thought it might make him feel uncomfortable, some of the things I thought about. So I was like, no. So I ended up using the baby photo with my husband, Jared, myself, and Jensen, the one that's got the baby in full view.
The look.
Well,
Yeah.
it's got the baby in full view too. Like I kind of wanted that because I know how important, baby is to Jensen. So I was like, let me have that in there.
Yeah.
So see, like with Jensen, I have to practice it in my head. So like numerous times I'm like, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up, don't fuck this up.
You've reminded me I have a funny story about the photo after.
So let me see if I can get it right this time. Now thinking about it now. So I scooted the photo. Oh, did I write it? Did I write it out to you? Whatever. I don't remember what I said. Something to the fact of my husband said that Jensen stared into his soul and not in a good way. So I kind of I made sure he was really paying attention because he was already starting to sign, but I kind of Sandra, use your words. You can use your words. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use my words.
You can do this.
So I used my words. And so then he stopped, looked at it, and gave one of his little belly laughs where he goes back a little bit. So I was like, yes, I got a Jensen laugh. So I was kind of happy about that. So I got an interaction, a smile, a thank you. And I think I said to him, thank you for nailing the assignment at the end of it. So, and then he said, thank you. And, I didn't gush about, I love you. I was like, keep it under control this time. Keep it under control. So I kept it under control this time. But I got a smile. I think I got an actual smile, even though I know he was exhausted. I got a smile out of him. Again, they work really hard. Oh, cute little. So I don't know if this is true or not, but I think there was something going on in the gold panel discussion about favorite snacks or whatever, or maybe there was a licorice debate. And I think
because there's a photo going around of Jensen with a hand on Jared's chest, holding him back.
Yeah. So they've got there were a whole bunch of red vines, the candy, the red licorice over there. So I think everybody was chewing on it. So as I was waiting to get my autograph, I hadn't gotten to the point yet. Jensen's security guard, he's a very fit, tall black dude. He's in a suit, nice black suit, very well fitting, and
exactly what you want in a security guard.
Somebody from one of the handlers had said, whatever his name is, I don't remember what he said his name was, or what the person said his name was. Do you want a red vine? And so he went between me to get the red vine. And then he went back to off to the side. And I don't know what was wrong. My husband's there's something about you. You have different con energy. You just start doing stuff that you would normally never do. And I looked at him as he's eating. I'm like, you're going to have to keep your energy up. And he's like, I know. He's like, I really need it. I was like, I had a little conversation with Jensen security. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I'm like, I was like, Sandra, this is not you. But again, it was
but it could be.
But it could be. So this is my doppelganger, Sandra, that comes out at cons or whatever. But
convention, Sandra.
Because even Ted's he's like, I was so proud of you. He's like, I kept my mouth shut when you were telling. He's like, I knew I had to keep my mouth shut and not try to tell them what to do. I'm like, no, please. I'm like, because then there would be complete chaos and we'd never get anything done. So the J2 photo with baby.
Yeah.
But he's like, I was so proud of you. You're telling Jensen what to do. And I was like, okay. It's like, okay, that's great. And I'm just thinking, God, he's like, God, she sounds like my wife, telling me what to do. But it's hard to wrangle just my husband. So it's trying to wrangle three men, to do something. I was like, oh God, I'm like, please let this work. And it did. It worked out the way that it needed to. So I was happy. About that. But yeah, there was,
just before we move on, while we're still on the baby
photo.
Funny story. So any photo Sandra shares with me with cons, I share with my husband. I don't think he cares. But I made him watch a 30-second video of a baby octopus today, and I made him watch it twice. So he's just used to me going, look at it, about things, cats, dogs, octopi, whatever. So I'm showing him these pictures because as we've established, my husband had gone to bed when I got these pictures from Sandra. So it's the following morning, and I'm showing him these pictures, and I'm like, look at these babies.
I remember this now.
It's so cute. So my husband said something to the effect of, "Oh, with the wax figures," and I did like a fucking exorcist head turn at him, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, the figures are Jared and Jensen," and I like again exorcist turned my head to him, and he was like, "Wait, no, is it actually Jared and Jensen?" He like leaned into the picture, and I was like, "Why would you think they have wax figures? It's a supernatural convent. It's actually Jared and Jensen, you fool." And he was like, "I don't know. They just look like wax figures." And we established. I questioned my husband on this bit further, and he thinks it's to do with Jared's hair in that photo because it's very floofy. It's very floofy, and he's pulling like a kind of face, so his eyebrows are up as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose I can see it, you know? Like, if you look at the photo afterwards and be like, "Oh, yeah, maybe." Just funny stories.
Cute.
It is. And then it's, like, obviously not in the second... I'm looking at that second picture now, and I cannot get Ted's head canon out of my head that if there had been a third shot, I would just see would have been a blur of your tan jacket as you go sprawling out of frame, and like Jensen's got like 1 foot up, like he's about to step forward on Ted.
Oh God, that is so funny.
Very, very. It's either that or he's going to reach around you and smack Ted up.
That's what I was thinking. It looks like more of like a smack might be ready to happen too. Like he might just dare to, like, you know, like he's saying what the fuck, but then he's ready to like smack.
No, see, because I can see him putting his hand on the side of your head and just shoving you like.
Thanks.
Not towards the car, but if he shoved you from that position, you'd go like in front of him and out of shot, and then there'd just be empty space between him and Ted, and he's gonna just like step forward.
Well, I'm glad I was I'm glad I was between them then, because that would have been really, really bad.
I want the third shot. And I think this shot is made all the better by the fact that Jared's just like smiling at the end, just like it's fine. You know, he's like leaning really heavily on Ted, just in case he needs to hold him in place. But Jared tends to punch him in the face, just leaning his arm on Ted, and he's just like, "It's fine. Don't you worry about it."
I will say one thing. I'm really going to tulpa this, I hope, into existence one day, because the fact that they, you know, are starting to get so much freer with like these shots with baby, and like they do a lot of different types of poses and stuff with baby. Do you want to know what my all-time goal is? My all-time goal is the header that we have for our podcast. I want the front
that would be
facing.
amazing.
I want the front facing view of that. So I want it from through the windshield in the front, and you see everybody's faces, and you see everything that's going on. Me driving, Jensen not happy about the fact that I'm driving in the back seat, you holding a lore book and saying, "Hey, so get this," and Jared pointing at the book and very, very interested in the conversation that you two are having. That's my God, that would be so cool. That's what I would want. I would want that.
That would be cool.
If they ever, so I don't know, Creation, are you listening? People would pay good money to be able to get into the car. I would pay
we would pay good money.
Get into the car and have like a little bit more of an interaction, because they were doing cute things with like, they were having people in the back seat like kissing and stuff that they were doing, like, you know, when it was just a baby op and stuff like that. So I know they do more of that, but I feel like those would just be perfect, like in the back seat, you know?
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to have that in real life, you know?
That would be adorable.
That would be awesome. So that's my wish one day, to get to do that with you in a proper baby replica with the boys in the back seat.
That would be awesome.
So yeah,
the tulpa that for us, guys.
Yeah.
Get your tulpa and heads on.
2025.
Make that a reality. 2025. Can't be 2024 because Karlee's got to save up to see
Karlee's got to save up for
in
that.
the UK.
Yep.
2025, that is the it's not even like a goal. That's just like a maybe kind of thing. Sandra, bless her, was like, "We should go to Austin," and I was like, "I'm illegal in Austin."
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to work. Yeah,
is illegal in Austin.
Yeah.
So I think Tulper 20 DC Con 2025. I think that's the one we'll go for.
I think that's the one that honestly, like if I could, I told Ted, I said, if we could make that, like sort of like a vacation in addition to something else every year. Now that I've done all of the big things, like I don't have to do another baby thing, and I don't have to do meet and greets anymore. Like just to go enjoy the con, maybe get like one photo op. It depends on my funds, but like don't have to do silver or gold. For
just
really hurting, we could just even do a general admission, like for the day or whatever, and just that kind of stuff. So, and I really want to try to connect with other fans more. So, like, I know we tried, but it just didn't quite work.
It's quite, it's quite difficult. Sandra was obviously rushing from place to place. She didn't necessarily have time to be constantly updating Twitter, and obviously, I can only go off what Sandra tells me, but where she is. But she don't have time to update me neither. And
out of that, like, out of the group of people that do listen to us, like what's the percentage of people that were actually there? So it's like it dwindles down. And but I thought it was fun. So I don't know. I know Ted ranked his. So I've been thinking about my rankings, and I think mine's probably just a little bit different just because my DC experience last year with Jensen and like all of like the little mini conversation I got to have with him during the autograph, that's really super special to me. And it's the first time I actually got like a Jensen full on hug. So I think for me, like the two DCs, like very, very close, but probably last year's just edges it out just a little bit for those reasons. Probably, see, I liked New Jersey. The hotel sucked, but again, it was my first meet and greet. I got to ask Jensen a question at that.
That's very cool.
So I think Charlotte would still be last, but not by much. And again, it was a much nicer experience at that hotel. The New Jersey hotel, I don't think they're even going back to that hotel anymore. Like I think the next New Jersey one is like closer to New York.
Good.
But it's more expensive that way and it's farther away. So it's like, can't do that because I can't even imagine what the hotel prices were going to be over there. So I think for those reasons, I think DC kind of like, it feels comfortable, for lots of reasons. So I'm so glad I got to like, just debrief with you about this. I kind of like didn't want to chat about it until we kindly, sat down and like talked about it with Ted and stuff because I didn't want to like rehash things, and because I know there was a lot of emotions and stuff. And Ted was good.
Ted's input is crucial anyway, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, especially because he's doing it from, oh my gosh, my first time, why is my wife dragging me to a convention? And now like he gets their names now. Like it's just like, it's like he doesn't always, sometimes he does, but he doesn't always confuse Jared and Jensen. Sometimes he'll just say Padalecki, but now he's actually saying like Jared more. And I'm like, oh, you're getting into it. So it's cute. It's cute to see, and he was such a sweetheart. And it was our anniversary on Sunday. And even though like I got a big hug from J2 on our anniversary, it was like, it was still, us enjoying something together. And he, he's made a point of saying, you're my best friend. And I like being able to do these things with you. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet, honey. Thank you. I appreciate him. And what he puts up with. And then what I put up with for him, he should appreciate as well. So
please don't think I would disabuse everybody of the notion that Ted is this poor husband that gets hauled around by his wife.
No, he enjoys it too, which makes me happy. Yeah. So it's been a very long discussion.
Remember to be very kind to Ted in the comments because he is a fucking bonus guest and we love him. So I want to see all the Ted love in the comments. If you guys show enough love, we might be able to convince him to come back on a NotCon episode and just chat.
He's a good sport. He's a good sport about it. But yeah, so we're going to wrap up this episode. So if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify and use the Q&A section to share your thoughts. All of our contact details are on our website, idlingintheimpala.com. Go check it out.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, wherever you access your podcast, but especially if you are watching or listening on YouTube. Likes, comments, subscriptions, they help massively with the YouTube algorithm. I have set I don't know if Sandra knows, maybe she does. It was on Twitter. I didn't tell her personally. It's fine. A small goal. Can we reach 100 subscribers on YouTube by our birthday, which is just after Christmas, just before New Year? So if you're not subscribed, why? Subscribe, please. Thank you. It all helps with the algorithm as well. All hail its benevolence. In the description, causes that we're championing. As always, if you need help, that's what they're there for. If you can, are able, financially in a position to support those charities so they can keep helping other people, that would be amazing. Voting season's kicking up. There's information about voting in the causes section as well. Keep yourself educated and informed. They'll be squiggling the rules around on you in America, I have no doubt. But with all that said, we will say thank you for joining us in the backseat for our con breakdown. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.